Welcome back to the Be Long Show, people. I want to talk about a few things today about life. And these little things are things that you can do in order to better yourself and make your life be in abundance towards the outcome of what you decide to develop. These three things, it's just three simple things, at least that I've noticed when I'm reading the Bible, that help you become better and have better outcomes in life. We're going to go through trials. We're going to go through troubles. We're going to go through pains. And all those different things can help us grow and be better people. Be stronger in the end and be better off. God will take care of you. You just have to carry through. And so the three things that I'm talking about is be humble, be loyal, and be patient. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. It doesn't matter what other people are doing around you. Maintain those things. Being humble, what that means, like you have the tenacity to be embarrassed, ashamed, and then you won't be embarrassed or ashamed if you're humble, because nothing matters for you that you're trying to hide from other people. You're not trying to hide your feelings. You're not trying to hide who you are. You're not trying to hide what you become or how you become that. You're not worried about what everybody enjoys or everybody think is big stuff. You're not trying to do what everybody else trying to do just because the majority been doing that. You educating yourself and becoming smarter and better so that you don't have to just do that stuff that they doing. You do the right thing. You become a better person like that. Being loyal. Being loyal means because things change or because the group is it's a famous thing to the group. Being loyal. Just because the group goes that way, don't mean you go that way. You know, you are loyal to who you loyal to. You loyal to what you loyal to. You loyal to what you believe in. You don't change up because of some people trying to convince you to go one way. That's not the strengthening way for you to continue to build. That's not the way for you to build on to humble and patient. Loyalty comes at a cost sometimes. And we have to be ready to deal with that cost. We can't fade off because something that seems detrimental. Jesus was loyal to people. And that's why he never fell off all the way to the cross. He continued his path. And then being patient. In order to be humble, in order to be loyal, you have to be patient. If you're not, you won't make it. Because patience shows that you're humble and shows that you're loyal, because that means you believe. So when you're patient, that means that you believe that in the end you're going to be all right, and you trust in your heart. You trust in who you believe in. I believe in God, so I'm always patient through all my pain, through all my pressure, through all of the different things that happen in life. I remain patient, because at the end of the day, patience is where the outcome comes. You may be old and at the end of your life, your human life. But if you remain patient, you'll be happy in those last moments. If you remain patient, you'll get your place in heaven that you plan to have. But you have to be patient in order to be humble and loyal. You know, so first let's talk about being humble. Being humble, that brings a little bit of pain sometimes, because you can't just strike out because of things happen and just, go all in about something. That's being humble, and sometimes that's going to bring pain. And so when you're being humble, it's kind of like gardening or farming. You putting in that work at that time in order to have a better outcome. You taking your time to be right, do the right thing. So I'm going to touch on being humble. And the reason that I'm going to use the Bible is because there's nothing that happens in life that the Bible has not spoke on. And so I don't want you to trust me on these three things of being humble, loyal, and patient. I'm going to use something out the Bible to help you with being humble, loyal, and patient, and let you know that nothing happens today that has not already happened in the Bible. And so what I'm gonna reference is a story about three guys, and it was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And if you ever want to read about it, you can go to Daniel chapter 3 and read that information. Because basically what happened is that a king, and that was King Nebuchadnezzar, he built an image of gold. And now just think about it. He did this even after Moses' situation with the Israelites, and they building a golden calf. It didn't really say what type of image Nebuchadnezzar built, but he built the image. And he called everybody in. Let me even read to you the type of people that he called in. Let's see. He called in princes, governors, captains, judges, treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces. He gathered all them together for a dedication of this golden image that he created. And then once he created that golden image, and see, these are vain people. These are these people that's caught up on these things that we are creating, like different shoes, cars, buildings, money, like all of this stuff. He's that type of person. So we always gonna have these type of people in the world. I mean, we looking at them right now when we see our presidents and our governors and things like that. These are those people. These are the people that are building those type of things. But we still got other people. It's just that now we try to mesh everything together and say that everything is all right, and that people do this and that, and it's cool because the group, the larger part of the group says okay, but it's not okay. You know, and then for us that try to continue to educate ourselves with the things that the Bible is telling us, and to educate ourselves into being closer to what Jesus was trying to show us that we can and should do in the flesh. Those of us, we tend to be called ignorant, or we going overboard, or we trying to do something that we shouldn't be doing. Like we too strict in life. And so if you want to pay attention to the Bible, you want to better your soul, put your humbleness in your life in a better situation. You got to be real about it. Don't give in because people telling you that you should be easier in life. You should be more open and more giving. Deal with the crowd because the crowd is good. Go and drink. Drinking is okay to get drunk. It's okay to smoke weed. It's okay to do this and that. It's not okay. It's not okay to crack jokes on somebody that you hurt their feelings. It's not okay to talk about somebody but don't tell them. If somebody is supposed to be your buddy or associate friend, you should tell them if it's something you got to say about them. You can say whatever. But if it's going to benefit them, then you should be telling them. But anyway, let's get back to it. So once he gathered all these people together, he decided to say that to you it is commanded, people, nations, and languages, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. So he want everybody to worship something he made. So he think he God or next to God. Because if he made something, everybody got to worship that. And, that's kind of what they're doing with these taxes and stuff that they're doing to us. And then look to go on and say, now whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour he be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. So he even told you, now, if you don't do this, we're going to kill you. Your life is worth some junk I just made. Your life is worth some junk I just made. And so I'm not going to go too deep into that because that's not what my whole thing is about, but I just need you to know the impact of what I'm talking about that. But the reason that I brought that up is because this has to do with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Because they're the ones that I'm talking about with the humility, the loyalty, and patience. And there's a lot of stories in the Bible that give you that information. I'm going to stop saying stories and say examples in the Bible that give you that information so that you know it and you know how to do that. So when all of this happened, he set these rules in place and this threat in place. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they believe in God, so they wasn't doing none of that. They wasn't bowing down to some image that some man made. And so they ran into a problem. So the problem that they ran into was that when all of these trumpets and instruments and all things like that started going off, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they didn't bow down and start worshiping this image that Nebuchadnezzar had built. And so when they did that, some of the other people, they didn't like that, and they went and told the king. The Chaldeans, they ran and told King Nebuchadnezzar that he got some people that's not worshiping this image that he done made. And so he demanded for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to be brought to him, and they had a conversation. And so rather than me tell you my interpretation of the conversation, I'm going to tell you how the conversation went down so that you can see how humility, loyalty, and patience come out. And if you just want to go straight to this, I'm going to just tell you, if you want to go straight to it, which I recommend reading from the beginning to get to it so you can understand the whole story. But if you just want to go straight to it, it's Daniel chapter 3, verse 16. That's where it started. And so, here goes this conversation. Well, actually, let me back up. So I had told you part of it, but it started verse 14. Let me pick this up so I can see. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? So, as you see, he put them in front of him, and he felt like he's next to God. He told them his God. And then he said, what did he say? Who's going to save you when I put you in that fiery furnace if you don't do it? And so God is always giving us examples, always giving us signs and messages. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was brought in front of him for us to see, for us to learn from. That humility, loyalty, and patience is key. And watch how humble they are. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, so humble. I'll read it one more time for you. We are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. They respected him as king. They told him they wasn't being disrespectful, they just being straight up. They was being humble. They wasn't being arrogant because they know and believe in God. But then at the same time, they don't know what God has planned for them. So guess what? Here comes in loyalty. Check out the next thing. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. They stayed loyal. They said, even if God don't save us, we still not going to worship your image. And they wasn't being mean. They wasn't trying to be arrogant. They was being honest, truthful, straight up. That's what you have to do in life. Sometimes it's going to come out good. Some will pay attention and respect it. Some won't. Some will fault you for being truthful and honest because they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear something that's not just going along with the flow. They don't want to hear something that's not what they don't want to hear. So then they'll say you wrong. But stand true to truth. Let's keep moving. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So he was trying to be nice, but now he's not. Therefore he spake, and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it was wont be to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Pure loyalty and patience. While they was being bound, they didn't start, oh, no, wait. Listen. Let me explain. They didn't do none of that. They still held fast to God. And they still held fast to their souls and didn't bow down to that image. They took the heat and was thrown into the fiery furnace. The same way Jesus took the heat and was crucified. The same way Joseph took the heat when his brothers sold him. The same way David took Goliath. The same way David dealt with Saul. It's time after time after time after time. The same way Noah dealt with the flood. Back with the giants that had to be washed away. And check out what happened now. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So the furnace must have been like on an incline or something. Because the people that was taking them there, it was so hot. While they had them tied up and got them in front of them, and you know they had little sticks that they had tied to them back then, pushing them. And so they pushing them in there, and guess what? Boom! Those men caught on fire and burned up. That's behind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they must have fell down and rolled and tripped Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because it says Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So they still was tied up and everything, and they fell right into the middle of the fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Look at that. Look at that. Humility, loyalty, patience. With all of that, they got to be with the Son of God in life. In a burning fiery furnace that the other people couldn't even get close to, they in there. Blessed with the presence of one of the Almighty. Blessed with the presence of protection from death. But let's read on. And guess what? We're going to read on and we're going to be finished. But I'm going to read it all to you because I don't want you to take it from me. I want you to see the outcome from the Bible. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Ooh. He just said the Most High God. Imagine that. Look what he saw. So I guess King Nebuchadnezzar was humble too. Some people don't have enough sense to become humble, like Pharaoh. No humility. But King Nebuchadnezzar must have learned from watching and hearing about Pharaoh. He got humble real quick. Then, let's go back. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains of the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair on their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. It was like they wasn't even in there, because God will take care of you if you be humble and loyal and patient. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language speak anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Just imagine. Imagine this, something that nobody really talks about. This King Nebuchadnezzar was a mess, but he still respected God. He still respected when he saw the Almighty Holy God. Because think about it. Everything that he had to, every time he did something, somebody got to get killed if they ain't going along with what he talking about. We still got people like that today. They want everybody to be exactly with what they is. You know, and it don't work like that. When people not doing wrong, you can't hold that against them. They don't have to do right your way. They just need to do right. But like, he want to cut people into pieces now if they don't represent or they speak against God. And before, he was burning people up if they wasn't representing or bowing down to this image he made. So just imagine how messed up this guy is. But he still had enough sense to respect the Almighty God. One God. So let's learn from Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that humility, loyalty, and patience will get you where you need to be. And you'll always be able to make changes when you get where you're supposed to be. Because think about it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got promoted. What does that mean? That they can make change. The same way Joseph did. So just go ahead and be humble. Sometimes humility will make you cry. You have to talk to somebody about it and all of that. They might even betray you after you tell them your problems and the things you're going through. But that's okay. You got it out. You was humble enough to do the right thing. Be loyal. Don't change up because it's not the famous thing to do or because it's embarrassing. Be loyal to what you know is right and what you want. And be patient. Patience is the roughest one. Because when you're being humble and loyal, you're feeling pain. And you want that pain to go away. You want to try to figure out a way out of that pain. But just be patient. You be patient and God will take care of you at the end. This to be long show. Basic learning opportunity and natural growth. And we using the Holy Bible as a reference. He only left you basic information before life ends. Take that how you take it and use it.